All right, y'all. It's the time of the day that you've been waiting for. It is the one show on air that will take you from the boardroom to the bedroom, from politics to the pulpit, and everything in between with your favorite friends. You are about to join the crew for Fresh Fire as we do what we do all together. Tune in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the crew here on Smooth 88.1 WHOV, iHeartRadio. We on all the social media platforms. It's good to be back. Took a little time off after the Black Family Conference, and just the fellas are here. We had so much good fun at the conference. The ladies done left us. I don't know where they are, but that's all right. We here tonight. We got the fellas that's here in the crew. Y'all know when it's just the fellas, it's barbershop talk, y'all. We talk real talk. We got Commonwealth Attorney, but he ain't Commonwealth Attorney up here. He just Anton. What's up, Ton? How you doing, man?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. I'm ready to go.
Good. Bishop Ray Johnson, how you doing, sir?
I'm glad to be here again on another wonderful Tuesday. Good to be on the show.
And producer extraordinaire who decided to keep his camera on today, and we can see him in live and living color. You know, he's always behind the camera. We're glad to see you, man. Jason Covington, producer extraordinaire. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm a little vain today. I got my beard shaved up and my head cleaned up. So, you know, we're a little vanity in the agribusiness of the vanity. Yes, sir. Happy to be here today.
Got it nice and buffed, looking good. Yeah. So, hey, fellas, let's just take a moment before we get started. Thank everybody that came out and supported the Black Family Conference. We appreciate it. Y'all came out in great numbers. And we just had a blast being able to share and have some fun, even though Tom was looking at me the whole time when he was talking about passes, but I ain't gonna say nothing about that. But y'all, let's talk about it. You know what? Let's share our thanks and appreciation to everybody for attending the conference. Tom, you start.
I'm just saying, first of all, why are he trying to call me out? I just call a Negro. I'm just saying. I ain't called no names. I'm just saying I just talked about what the real deal was. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, but I digress. Thank you, everyone that came out and supported us. We really appreciate the love.
Yeah, it was great. Ray, what you think, man?
I'm just proud that people actually attended the conference and such. You know, they're in great numbers in regards to what we had to discuss, because, you know, this is one of the times that I cannot channel my friend John Young and say, y'all just trifling, because y'all not. Y'all showed up, and I'm glad that y'all showed out. And so this time, let's put it into practice, some of the things that we discussed as a result of the conference.
Absolutely. And Jason, you know, you dropped your knowledge on the school system, man, and what you experiencing every day with them little kids, man, cussing you out 3 times a day. But that's a whole nother story, man. But what you got to say about the conference?
First of all, I'm just proud that my home by sea, they showed up. It just wasn't, you know, community leaders. You had college students that came in, and they were encouraged, and to hear the feedback, want us to come back out. So as we talked about last week, you know, y'all can get us to wherever you want us to be. All you gotta do is hit us on our social media outlet. The email address is coming across the screen right now. Send us an email. We will be more than happy to. We actually had an amazing time when you get all of us in one room together, and you give us multiple mics. It's going to be a situation in the place. So we had an amazing time. So again, thank you to I think Dr. McGee and the whole staff over there at the Black Family Conference for having us out there. It was an amazing time.
Absolutely, Dr. McGee, Dr. Linda Malone Cologne, and the entire Liberal Arts College. And certainly the President Williams, we salute him and his family, which we recognize at the conference as well. So we appreciate it. And one thing that came out of it, fellas, is that there was renewed interest in us taking the show on the road and doing something live in person with an audience that we can really connect with. So stay tuned, y'all. We do have that coming down the pike sometime soon. We're going to be planning that. We'll let you know when we're going to do another venue where it could just be us and we can have some real talk. And you know, we only had a certain amount of time. We had to end the conversation a little early. So when we have our own venue, we're going to just keep going until we're done. How about that? Now, Tom, what we going to talk about today, man? What's up? What we doing?
Someone hit me on the street the other day, and they were like, look here, this Diddy thing, I need y'all to do a show on Diddy. And I said, well, we did a couple of shows already on Diddy when it first came out. And can I just pause for a second for the record? Somebody up in the conversation owed me an apology because I said that it was going to go down a certain kind of way. And somebody, I ain't going to call no name, Kevin, but somebody,
Kevon.
doubted my understanding of the ability to be able to project how things were going to fall out. And so I said it was going to be like another R. Kelly, Bill Cosby situation. I just sensed that in my bones. And then I said, but wait, you haven't seen anything until the fellas come out and begin to tell their story. And somebody said, I ain't gonna say no names, Kevon, but somebody said that ain't no coming out and telling that somebody did that to them. Ain't nobody gonna come out and say, our brother did this and this to him. I say they coming out and they gonna come out by the droves. Wait, they're coming. Now we have a brother. And not only did the brother come out, the brother came out with some explosive details to the point that offline, because guys, we talk offline all the time. Offline, I told them, I said, the feds are going to come for him now. I said, this person, he was dangling red meat in front of the feds. And I said, whenever you say words like Rico, is done. So let's talk about it. So back in February, there was a producer called Rodney. He goes by the name of Lil Rod, but his name is Rodney Jones. He worked for Diddy from the time frame of September 2022 to November 2023. During this time, he was an up-and-coming producer. He wanted to, have his own thing. He wanted to be like a Stevie J. He idolized Stevie J. That note that because that's gonna make some sense to you a little bit later on. So he idolized this guy. He wanted to be like the next Stevie J. So Diddy used him like an assistant. Like what was that assistant that used to walk around with him with the umbrella? He used him kind of like that guy.
Talk about Bentley.
Yeah, Bentley.
Bentley Farnsworth.
Yeah, Bentley
Farnsworth Bentley or whatever.
Farnsworth Bentley. Yeah, that dude right there. Him. I want to wait till he come out with something. But anyway, I digress. So he used them kind of like him. He made him take numerous. Turn your mic on. Turn your video on. He used him. This is the barbershop, right? So
Yep.
we gonna be raw, right? Okay, all right, there. So he used this guy, Lil Rod, like a Farnsworth Bentley. I mean, he had him taking photos of him all the time, audio of him all the time, video of him all the time, including allegedly in the bathroom. He would make this dude alleged in his lawsuit that Diddy would have him come in the bathroom while he was nude or getting massages as he was nude in his bathroom, and would have video going, audio going, whatever. And to the point where he felt extremely uncomfortable. He alleges sexual harassment by Diddy. He said Diddy tried to groom him for sexual activity. He said he tried to groom him for homosexual acts. He said he used to tell Diddy, I'm a Christian, I don't roll that way. And he said that Diddy was like, look, they all do it. And his idol, Stevie J, was someone that Diddy used allegedly to try to groom him into getting more comfortable with homosexuality. For instance, this guy Lil Rod alleges that Diddy showed him a video that was purporting to be Stevie J. It later was confirmed to be a gay porn star who has also spoken out on it and who has also, y'all said, has been to Diddy's house for Diddy parties. He said that. But nonetheless, he showed him a video. This guy looks like Stevie J. If you put their pictures, their faces side by side, they could be brothers. He looks that much alike. So he showed him this video, according to Lil Rod, and said that, look, at Stevie J getting down with this dude. See, they all do it. So if he's doing it, then there's nothing wrong with you doing it. And so he just tried to, again, break down all his inhibitions. He alleges that guns were a part of this organization. Now, he alleges RICO Enterprises law violations. So for those of you who don't know what RICO is racketeering. RICO is what we refer to as mobster type stuff, mafia type stuff, racketeering, which means there is a criminal enterprise or a criminal organization, and there are activities or racketeering activities, illegal activities that are performed or executed to benefit, to promote, to expand, or to help maintain the criminal enterprise that takes place. So that could be gun trafficking, that can be human trafficking, that can be drug trafficking, that can be bribery. There can be a number of things that can take place to make sure that this criminal enterprise stays afloat. This criminal enterprise is maintained. This criminal enterprise grows. So Lil Rod, I read the lawsuit, y'all. I was amazed at how detailed this lawsuit was. It was very specific as far as each allegation. He alleges RICO enterprise type illegal activities, wild fraud, and gave examples, mail fraud, and gave examples, human trafficking, and gave examples, said that there were underage minors that were on a regular basis at these parties, that he said Justin Combs as well as Stephen J were basically pimps that will come and corral these underage girls and bring them to the party. He also alleges that there were two types of alcohol at these parties. There were bottles that were regular bottles for the artists, for the staff, for Diddy. And then there were bottles of alcohol that were laced with ecstasy and were laced with GHB. That GHB is a gamma hydroxy butane or butyric acid drug, otherwise known as the date rape drug. For those who don't know the actual scientific term, that is known as the date rape drug. This drug can cause increased nausea, sleepiness. And in fact, people can pass out immediately after it gets into your system for a minute, and it causes memory loss. So people will black out and don't have a recollection of what took place, which goes to one of his allegations. He said, again, Diddy was trying to get him, was trying to hit him up sexually. And one day or one party, Diddy gave him a drink. Well, I teach my 16-year-old, and I've been teaching him that for years. Don't ever accept a drink or a cup from somebody that you don't know and is open. Never accept anything like that. If it's not in a bottle and the cap is on, or in a can and it's closed up, do not accept it from anyone, because you don't know what they did to that item. And so he did, knowing Diddy's rep, knowing Diddy's advances, he did. And so he said he woke up the next morning. He was in bed naked. Diddy was in bed naked. Two sex workers, female, were in the bed naked. Now, he didn't say whether Diddy took the goods. He just said he was in the bed naked. He don't know what happened. Well, come on, y'all. I'm just going to leave it at that. Come on, y'all. So anyway, that's one of his allegations. This guy had receipts. He had videos. He had audio. He had photos. He had all types of stuff. He had text messages. He attached that to the lawsuit. So it wasn't just, I'm saying this happened. He showed you, because here's the thing. Remember, he was photographing. He was audio taping. He was videographing everything that was going on at Diddy's request, insistence. And so he had all of this stuff. There was a shooting that took place at a studio. And he alleged at this shooting, during this shooting, that he heard what went down, and basically this guy got shot by Diddy or somebody at the direction of Diddy, they dragged the guy outside of the bathroom onto the street. And the LA Police Department, seeing the blood that's in the bathroom, disregarded the blood that's in the bathroom and put in a report that the incident took place outside of the studio. So in his mind, he felt like Diddy could manipulate anyone because he had LA police doing whatever he wanted him to do at his bidding. So this guy said he was very afraid of him. He dropped names left and right. Like I said, he dropped Stephen J. He dropped Justin Combs. He dropped Meek Mill. He didn't call Meek Mill's name, but he said he was a rapper, and he said he used to date in Philadelphia. They used to date Nicki Minaj. That's Meek Mill. Said that he slept with Diddy. He dropped Usher's name. Didn't say his name, but said he is someone who just performed at the Super Bowl. And he said something else, and everybody knew that's Usher. Usher just performed.
That could have been somebody else. It could have been somebody else.
Yeah, well, whatever. I'm just telling you, it's been rumored for years and years and years that Diddy had molested Usher when he was a teenager. So he dropped his name. He dropped Stevie J as well as has slept with him. He also stated that Diddy tried to groom him. Now, this is the one that took me out. Tried to groom him for Cuba Gooding Jr. I said, not so. Said that Cuba Gooding Jr. was on a yacht. I think it was in Miami, and he said that they had been drinking, and that Cuba came over there and started groping him. Now y'all know Cuba got arrested for groping some lady. I think it was in New York, and so y'all remember that infamous picture or video of them taking him out in handcuffs. Well, that was for groping, and so here we go. Another allegation of groping, and this time it's a dude. And he said he had to fight for his virginity. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. But he said he had to fight him off. He said he had to fight Cuba off, and multiple times. So he named him. So it was just salacious, y'all. It is just salacious. Now, after all that went down, I said the feds are coming for him, because when you dangle red meat like Rico, the feds are coming for you. A month later, the feds raided his Miami compound, and they raided his LA compound. And you saw pictures and videos of his sons in handcuffs standing outside. But what most people don't know is allegedly there was Diddy had a plane in Miami, and he had a guy with him, Paul, that was named in the lawsuit as a drug mule, because they said that Diddy kept drugs on him all the time, or had people around him that kept drugs on them all the time. So whenever he wanted drugs, they would give it to him. Well, this guy, Paul, who's named in the lawsuit, was arrested the same day they did the raid. And apparently he was about to get on a plane with Diddy, and they arrested him at the airport, and they arrested him for a drug-related charge. So yes. And the papers had it out there as this is his alleged drug mule just got arrested. So that's what's going on lately in the world of Diddy world.
So let me ask you, Ton, do you imagine that this case will be settled as quick? Well, I guess not, because the other case with the young lady, he settled that case in a day for like allegedly $30 million. It does not appear that this case has been settled yet, right? So
it won't be.
It won't be settled because you think the feds are coming in to address this. Is that why?
I don't think it'll be settled because Diddy can't settle this case. See, He can settle a case with Cassie, because even if people thought he did all those things he did to Cassie, Cassie was a woman. So, and he ain't the only one, unfortunately, that may have done these type of things to females that's in the rap industry or in the entertainment industry. But this is a dude saying, you have tried to sexually attack me, harass me, and maybe even sexually assaulted me while I was under the influence of GHB or some other type of narcotic. And so he can't settle that. He can't settle a lawsuit where they're saying that he has, on a consistent basis, done federal violations that are in line with RICO or racketeering, such as wire fraud and mail fraud and underage minors in his home at parties who are getting basically sexually assaulted, or human trafficking. We've been hearing that theme quite often, that human trafficking. And so he can't settle that one. This one, he can't settle. He got to fight it with everything that he has. But here's his problem. That ain't his problem. Can I just tell you that? His problem is the feds now got you on their radar. And when the feds come for you like that, because I don't know if y'all looked at the video, them jokers had on tactical gear when they came to his house, which meant they expected there to be potential repercussions or potential gunfire. They were ready for that, which means they already believe that there is some level of arms dealing or multiple firearms at his home. Now, let me throw you some serious inside information for our viewers. You cannot get a search warrant from a magistrate, state or federal, if the information that is listed in the search warrant for probable cause for you to get the search warrant isn't recent events. So there's a doctrine called staleness, which means you can't present old stuff to a magistrate to get a warrant to search someone's home or their person. The information that you present to a magistrate had to be recent, which means someone is talking to the feds about some recent activities that they have witnessed, that they have seen, and it was strong enough for it to meet the threshold of probable cause for a federal magistrate or judge to issue a search warrant. And let me be real clear with you, because this is a big fish, because this is a billionaire, you know they had to double check their T's and double dot their I's, because no one wants to have any type of egg on their face. So whatever information that they were able to receive, uncover, that information had to be so powerful that a judge signed off on it, because no one is going to be willing to take the backlash that if that information is incorrect, it was going to come back to bite them. So it's over. I'm telling you right now, he's done. Wow. Forking him.
All right, let's talk about it. Ray, what you think, man?
I think that we are in the last days and perilous times have come. I mean, that's just where we in the last days. I mean, hide your kids, hide your wife, find a way to get to Noah's Ark, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. Based upon what Anton just said, that totally debunks, Jay, what we were talking about in the thread. I'm gonna just bring it on out. The fact, our dude had Brian here discussing no charges have been made against Diddy. And so this is just another black man that's well-to-do being thrown under the bus. But if the litmus test of what Ton is saying holds true, a judge is not issuing a warrant or a magistrate is giving access to this if it's not something that's credible and something that's recent. This means that there is a continual pattern of activity that is of a lifestyle that you just can't say this is another black man that's being attacked by the system. Now, to give, because y'all know I'm both ends, to give equal time to that, to give equal, just give me 30 seconds, Tom, to give equal time to that. The equal time to that is, our system in America can do whatever it wants to do, when it wants to do it, how it wants to do it, the way it wants to do it, in dealing with black people. We know that. However, in this case, I don't think that's the case. I think you dealing with, and if I can say it this way, an R. Kelly type that done got away too long. And I agree with Ton. I think it's let me ask the question in my statement. Do you think it's because his assets are under? He can't settle this because his assets are being watched carefully by the feds in terms of where money comes from in regards to this. But there has to be a suit first, though, right? There got to be a suit first.
He filed the suit back in February, so there's already a suit. So no, that's not the issue. The problem is lawsuits are public record. So if he were to settle this case, the public would know that he settled this case.
He's guilty in some regard.
And so they're going to assume he settled this case because he is guilty of what's alleged in the case. Like, who didn't already think that he was guilty of what Cassie said he had done? No one is going to tell you that, oh, I don't believe he was innocent. They're not going to tell you that they believe that he was innocent, that he just did it because he was just a nice guy. Who let somebody call them a darn pervert, a human trafficker, a rapist, a druggie? Who's going to let them call them that and then give them money for it? I don't know about you, but I'm not.
No,
Yeah,
Ray ain't doing
that.
that. No,
I feel you on that. Jay, what you think, man? What's going on? What's your thoughts?
I'll just say it like this. I went to school the other day, unbeknown to me, and I had on a Sean John jacket.
No, you didn't.
And I quickly had to take that thing off and put it in the trash can. And I was just cold for the rest of the day. He is quickly being, like what Ray just said, people are looking at him the same way he looked at R. Kelly. And like to hear, I'm just going to be honest, and I hope I don't get blackballed for saying it. It kind of hurt my feelings when all this stuff came out because Diddy was, to me, because, I grew up listening to his music and like seeing his what I thought his business acumen was, he was a dog and he was a boss, and seeing the moves that he was making. It really wasn't until I saw the behind the scenes of that Making the Band documentary and seeing how he handled the business with Day 26 and Danny the Kane. And then when now you start hearing, it's funny because you go back and you see things, and now you see where things are now. Like there was a video on social media with Diddy had on a female's wig and was talking kind of soft, and everybody thought he was just clowning. And then now you hear all the rumors and allegations of him being with other men. It's like, nah, this dude won't clowning. He was around here, doing sexual activity with other men. Hey, do your thing, but that ain't my cup of tea. So for me, it was disheartening to say the least, because I thought that he was going to be one of the ones to bring the culture up and not set us back. So that kind of bothered me when I started, especially the way he treated people, and then like the mob mentality, hanging people over railing. Like, not Puffy. The man's name is Puffy. He's not hanging over no banners and threatening them with weapons and stuff. So that was my thing.
But what about his childhood, y'all? Y'all know that it was alleged that his father was in the mob and that he used to be around Frank Lucas when he was a kid. And so Frank Lucas, he ran New York. And so, at least Black New York. And so if that was his influence, if that was his upbringing, if that was his environment growing up, or at least at a young age, then that's how it makes a whole lot of sense. It's like the pieces are coming together, because basically, based on these lawsuits, they are basically saying he operates like old school mafia people. When you blow up people's cars, when you hang people over the banister, where people die of mysterious illnesses or mysterious causes, and you don't know, because there's still rumors about what really happened to Kim Porter and what really happened to was the producer that was down in Atlanta who was dating Kim Porter for one time. And there's still rumors about
I'll be sure too.
Yeah, I'll be sure. Jamie Foxx, a whole bunch of people. There's rumors that things happened to these people, and we don't know if his hand was in it.
So let's come off the law for a minute, and let's talk about the elephant in the room with this whole piece, and that's Black masculinity, right? Let's have a conversation about black masculinity, because now what you have is R. Kelly coming out with all these allegations. You know, he's been convicted. You have Diddy now that's come out with all of this. And now the men. And Ton, I do owe you a public apology because I was very reluctant to believe that black men would come out publicly and say that they were sexually assaulted by another black man. So to see that has been shocking for me. Because, you know, it's one thing in the R. Kelly situation where you got minors and you got young girls and all that kind of stuff to come out. But when you have grown men coming out, that puts it in a different category.
Can I tell you why that doesn't shock me? Because as a prosecutor, I know that boys get molested at a rate that goes unnoticed and unprosecuted because it's not reported. So
men ain't gonna talk about it though.
That's the point I'm making.
They ain't gonna talk.
That's the point.
But hold on. But we're in an era where remember,
Me Too. Yeah, Me Too movement. I got you.
The Me Too movement did not happen back then in our days. The Me Too movement has given the men. I told you, the women really are responsible for the men coming out because the women have given them a comfort zone to be able to say it's okay. There's a safe space for them to say it's okay for you to tell your truth, for you to be able to share your trauma, and we will stand with you. And so now they are doing it, and that's why you're having these celebrities who have come forward, like Terry Crews, who have come forward. The guy that played in the movie the Mummy. I can't remember his name, but coming forth and saying that they were sexually assaulted or harassed by executives. It's a safe space now, so I'm not shocked by it.
Yeah, and so that's the point I want to make, right? And some would also argue, Ton, if we're being honest, that in this case it's a financial incentive to come forward too. Because if I'm looking at Cassie and I see she get 30 million. And now look, you know, I know what happened too, and maybe I can get some as well. And so there's no indication that this person, like you said, all he said was he wound up in the bed naked one day. He don't know what happened, but he has seen and knows of others that Diddy sexually assaulted other men. He knows that for a fact, right?
When he went to the bathroom, guess what?
He knew what happened. He knew what happened. He knew what happened.
Okay, so this we ain't gonna play no games with it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Keep it real.
Yeah,
when he went to the bathroom, that Negro knew what happened.
Right. So this is the point I want to make now. Okay, so we know that Hollywood has privately always been a culture of anything goes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But what's interesting now is that more black men are being implicated in that type of lifestyle. As black men, hearing about other black men doing these types of sexual acts, how do we feel about that? How do we feel as black men hearing about other black men being involved in situations like this? I'm just going to throw it out there.
I would have been appalled and outraged except for the life experience of seeing brothers who have been at, you know, let me just put it on out there. You know, I was going to put it in the feed because I watched the Freaknik documentary for the first time the other day. Too many familiar faces, too many people.
Was you in it? That's what makes
that's what I was about to ask. I least said familiar faces. Were you in?
They didn't get me. They didn't put it this way.
They didn't get you because I was before the blood. And this is be honest. This is before the blood. Now everybody's sweating about that Freaknik video, boy.
But I done seen some mamas and grandmamas do. I done seen some mamas and grandmamas. Okay, so let's get out of that. My point is, it's a lot of groping and a lot of sexualized activity from our era anyway. So what you don't want to see, though, is the vilified demonization of black men as if we are unencourageable, uncontrollable, and savages that we just out here, you know, raping people and taking people, because that then has an impact upon how the black man is viewed in a society where, you know, all of us, we lived through Thugville. So where we couldn't go into the store, if we got on a certain type of clothing, no matter what our pedigree is, educational status is, we're being followed around in the store. What I don't want to see is that kind of attitude come back, which causes me to kind of just be like, I'm just shaking my head because I can see it coming.
Yeah, and I want to raise this point. Listen, this is Barbershop, right? So you look at the last 3 black men that have been publicly put out there for sexual acts. You got Bill Cosby. He mostly drugged women. You got R. Kelly.
It ain't looking
He
good.
did women and minors. Now you got Diddy, and he's done men and women. Right? We know that we talk about this all the time. In our community, is a lot of stuff that's taboo. We don't talk about. We don't put it out there. But now more stuff is coming out there. Now, Ton, I know you said you're not surprised by none of this,
I'm not.
but take your legal hat off for a minute, because you see a lot in the courts. Are you not surprised by how we're seeing black men now being portrayed publicly when it comes to these sexual scandals?
No, because it's not a black issue or a white issue. It's a sin issue. And so if you got sin in the world, guess what? Black people are not somehow what's the word I'm looking for?
Exempt.
Is thank you. I can't think of the word exempt. Black men are not exempt from.
No, black men are not exempt.
But they don't
black
vilify
men
Harvey
historic-
Weinstein the same way they do Diddy. And Weinstein is just as guilty, if not more.
Excuse me. Yes, they did vilify Weinstein.
Okay, what about Robert Kraft? Robert Kraft that owned the Patriots and the dude that owned the Redskins, I don't even want to call his name because I'm glad he gone. Them jokers was in it together with the level of money laundering that is happening, taking place, but they get slaps on the wrist because they got money.
Because again, it is money laundering. And also, when you deal with sexual deviancy and when you're dealing with money issues, they are 2 different categories. Because the Me Too stuff that we're dealing with, it ain't the money issue. It's the sexual deviant behavior that's making people say enough is enough. So they're calling those individuals out because, truth be told, it's a whole bunch of people out there right now as we speak that are doing all kinds of illegal stuff that we may not know about it, but they're doing it. It's just a matter of time before it is potentially exposed or somebody run among it. But however, when you're dealing with sexual deviant behavior and you're victimizing, and it's not just you're a sexual deviant and you're doing things in your house. It's you're victimizing other individuals. Those individuals at any point can come out and expose you. And so it doesn't surprise me that they are now naming black people. Black people were doing it and they have been doing it for decades. Because
yes, we've been doing it for decades, and that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is historically, when you look at how the media portrayal has been of black men, right? Black men have been thugs, black men have been pimps, black men have been, hoodlums and drunks and not bisexual, not pedophiles, not that, right? Even though it has always existed in our community, Tom, I'm not saying it hasn't, but I'm saying when you look at how we have always been portrayed, it's never been that we've been portrayed as sexually deviant, right? As you're describing it until now. So that's my question. How do we feel about it now? Because yes, we all know that in families, in our communities, it's been quiet. It's been swept under the rug. But to now have it be so open when for so long we have been viewed in such strong, quote unquote, terms, I find that interesting. Jason, what you think about that, man?
It doesn't make you scratch your head. I'll say to your question, it's a sign of the times as far as how culture has shifted. You look at when we were in school, there were certain sexual acts that were not talked about. They were just done behind closed doors. Now those sexual acts are worn as badges of honor. So then you flip it to the other side where as a man, it wasn't cool to be seen holding another man's hand. Now it's cool to be seen holding another guy's hand. Now, as far as the sexual deviancy, and that stuff is weird to me. Like they go into parties and like we were talking about before we came on air. I'm a gospel artist. Went on record. So I mean, we could say his name. Lecrae went on record, said that he was going to these parties because he felt like God was having him to be salt and light into a dark world. And one of the people came to him and said, "Hey, when the clock strike this certain hour," they didn't tell him what, they didn't say what the hour was. They told him, I said, once you get here, you need to leave because it's gonna change. And when the clock hit whatever time that person told him, the party changed, and Lecrae said he saw two guys just going at it sexually in a corner. And he went around another corner and saw a well-known celebrity, another well-known politician, another well-known religious figure that he would not name, in the corner with some other men. And he said he immediately got out because he was like, "Ain't no more light. I could be here. I need to go ahead and get out." So when you start seeing that stuff being normalized, and for me, being in the music world, it's not new to me because I will not name the conference, and the delegation, but I've seen it in clergy conferences where they're preaching, and as soon as you get off the stage, you got 4 or 5 men huddled up together, and I'm just like, wait, y'all got wives, y'all together? I didn't know that this happened, but they do it.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to say here. Do we have enough conversations in our community about Black men and sexuality? Black men bisexual, because what we're talking about now is Black men and bisexual. Because I think in this generation, to hear that Diddy is with men and women, it don't phase, in my opinion, it don't phase people, right?
No, it doesn't.
It don't, right, Tom?
No, it doesn't.
But at the same time, for previous generations that we were raising, we never had open conversations about Black men and sexuality. Is what I'm saying.
But guess what? They were doing it though.
They were doing it. They were
taboo underneath the table, though.
Correct. It was underneath the table, but they were doing it, and that's the problem. Just like these stereotypes of what a Black man should be or should do, it was being broken behind closed doors all along. You know, what happens in the house stays in the house, all that stuff was going on. So what we can't do is turn around and say, "Oh, I'm so shocked." No, why are you shocked? My thing is, it's been going on forever and a day. We're just now seeing it more because of social media, because of the ability to now record, videotape, to text message and all of those things, but we're now seeing it. But it was going on all along. Just like we never looked at a serial killer to be a white man until John Muhammad came along, the DC sniper, and he started picking people off. But can I tell you why we knew he was Black? Because then he had a ransom note saying, "Give me so much money." That's how I knew he was Black. I said, "That's a brother. The brother wanted some money. He said, monetize killing people." He said, "I don't want to just kill him. I want to monetize kill." That's how I knew it was a brother.
But this is the point I want to raise, Todd, because you said it, right? Because it's no shock now because everybody's coming out with it. But what I'm saying is that, and it's always been done before, but there is shock to some people. And the reason why there's shock to some people is because we don't talk about it. And so,
what's one? I'll add to that. I think it's not only that we don't talk about it. I think you think about how far this ban goes out, because now they're talking about Oprah Winfrey being implicated in some of this stuff. So now you go from Diddy, me. Now you go into Oprah. Some people you don't know.
That school in South Africa ain't all what I think it is.
Oprah ain't next, y'all. Oprah ain't next. Can I go ahead and declare who's going to be next?
Who next, Tom? Who next?
The person that I think is going to be next is Jay-Z.
I'm going home. You can't mess with my Jay-Z 444.
Anytime you call yourself,
the gray album is gone. The gray album is gone. It's gone.
Look, Bishop, I put my iPad down there. Bishop said it on Sunday. Anytime you want to name yourself Jehovah, and you think you ain't gonna get dealt with, you think you ain't gonna get exposed, he next. Watch.
You messing with me and Michelle's childhood. You can't take Jay-Z off the table.
You can't
take him off the table.
I'm 100 for 100. I'm batting 100, batting 1,000.
He batting 100.
You might be 99 with this time. I just can't see it.
You
I
hope
can't.
so. But there were a lot of people that hope Diddy won't this.
Yep.
And there were a lot of people that hope R. Kelly won't this. And we're not out here to speculate that Jay-Z is implicated in this. I just think that we need to have more higher level conversations about black men and sexuality because it is not happening. And now the stuff that we all know that was happening for years under the, behind the door and all that stuff is out now.
But can I ask you a question? Well, what is the conversation that you're going to have? Is the conversation you're going to have is stop doing what you're doing? Or is the conversation you're going to have is be better liars and what you're doing and be better cover-ups about what you're doing?
Because I think the conversation is what's happening to black men when they little boys. Because this stuff is coming out in their adulthood. What's happening to them when they little boys? That's what we got to talk about.
Let me put it in context so that you can answer this question fully. The reason I ask that is because we know it's been going on forever and a day. So conversations have probably taken place, may not have taken place publicly, but there's been conversations, I'm certain, privately. So the question is, are we going to have the conversations about not doing it? Not being a part of that culture, not engaging in that activity, or is your conversation is you need to be more discreet with what you're doing? Because you do know there was a whole slew of men who taught their boys, yeah, you can be a hoe as long as you don't bring it home. As long as it doesn't hit the door, you can be as much of a hoe as you want to be. And so what is the conversation that you want black men to have? The conversation that some of these dads been having with their kids for generations, that it's okay to be a hoe, it's okay to be a deviant, it's okay to do all that you want to do as long as you don't bring it home, or the conversation that you should not be engaging in this activity at all. That's the problem.
Yeah, you're right. It's the problem.
Yeah,
and yet we know that again in the times that we're in, there's a lot of black men that's not there morally, and so. When it comes to black men and being responsible to families and all that kind of stuff, you're right. Back in the day, Ton, you're right. A black man could be married and have a family over here and got another family across town.
Come on.
Right? We know that. And it's been happening. I've done funerals where the wife was sitting in the front and the mistress was sitting in the back. I know what that's like. Right?
Yes, sir.
But we don't have these conversations. We don't talk about what it means to really be what it means to be an upright man. And to Ray's point, a lot of it is because stuff happens when these men are boys.
Yep.
And they don't recover. And those conversations don't happen because we got too much code in our families.
Yep.
And we don't talk about it. We shut it down.
A lot of times these boys are over sexualized at 6, 7, 8 years old by the uncles and the aunties. And because the black male image is of his sexual prowess as a stallion, he got to live up to that image that's portrayed. Now, the deviant stuff that's sold into his life at 6, 7, and 8, whether male or female, because, there are a whole lot of male boys. Their first sexual experience, they're 11 and 12, and the woman is 18, 19, 20. That's a badge of honor, but that's still pedophilia and rape, no matter how you slice it. Now, when they get of age, they're living out this idea of this image of what a black man's male prowess is supposed to be. And that's the kind of conversation I'm saying we got to have some clear discussions about and deal with a couple of aunties and a couple of uncles on this issue.
Well, 2 points, Ray. 2 points you just talked about. I saw an interview, I think, with Lil Boosie, that he said what you just said. He does with his kids. When his son turned 16, he took his son to a brothel and made sure that he knew what to do. And not, we got underage listeners, so we're not going to go into the detail. But he went into great detail about that. Then the second thing, we talked about the Black Family Conference. With me being in education. My primary focus is school is pre-K through 8. My primary focus is pre-K through 2. I have a first grader, which that age is like 6 years old. He came and told me that his dad watches porn with him to show him what to do when it's time. So when he comes to school, he said, Mr. Cub, I'm about to clap those cheeks right there. And I'm like, wait, time out, time out, time out. What? He gets that vernacular from the material that he's watching. And who's watching material with him? His dad. So when the teacher came to me and said, hey, can you have a conversation with him? I call home and the mom was like, yo, I can't do that. His daddy watch it with him.
And
So
that's the
counselor, what can I do with that?
And that's the point I'm trying to make here, Jason. This is the conversation. How do we, as 4 Black men who are straight, who are married, and who are saved, begin to have conversations with other Black men who live and endorse a culture where anything goes sexually? How do we begin to have some dialogue about what that looks like? Because to Jason's point, I mean, if he's got kids in elementary school that's coming to school that's already been exposed to porn, and we know the research that talks about the effects of porn on the brain, and you're telling me that an elementary kid has already been exposed to porn, brain ain't nowhere near fully developed yet, and the impact that that's going to have on him in terms of how he's going to now choose relationships, how he's going to choose a girl or date a boy going forward, because what he has been exposed to. Man, this is the stuff that I'm talking about, right?
It need to be some fireside chat conversations. I can't imagine a Black father showing porn to his 6-year-old son. I can't even see it. What?
But to go a step further, going back to Diddy, because that's the whole conversation here. There'll be people who look at Diddy and like, okay, so he having sex with dudes. So what? What's the big deal?
No, here's the thing. I don't care what you do in your house. Whatever you do in your house is between you and God. The problem I got is when you start bringing in underage girls, and that is you having a consistent pattern of drugging them and bringing them in, and then you're doing God whatever with these young girls. That's what that human trafficking piece comes in. I have a problem when you are alleged to have carrying around guns and you're shooting people, because that shooting outside the studio wasn't the only thing that was mentioned in the lawsuit. It was multiple incidents involving guns, the drugs, the lacing of the alcohol, all of these things, the sexual harassment, the sexual assaults. Because guess what? If he's raping women, you think he ain't raping men too? If he's raping women, you think he ain't raping men? Because the brother that woke up, don't remember what happened, but he was naked in the bed. He won't naked when he went to sleep. So somebody took his clothes off.
Right. And we got to run. But I think part of the question for this is, did somebody do all this to Diddy? And now
it is alleged that Clyde Davis was
there. You go.
Exposed him.
So now you gonna drop that with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, and so
I'm just saying.
There you go.
So now what you're saying is, in order to make it in Hollywood and society at the top of the list, the only way to get there in a lot of cases is to have sexual deviant behavior. If you're not willing to be exposed to sexually deviant behavior, you're not gonna get far in the industry, because that's what's going on in the industry. That's what
Cat Williams told you that. Cat Williams told you that. He told you what happened.
So why you
no
shocked?
Lies detected.
What? Yeah. Why you shocked?
I'm not shocked. I'm saying if our kids are looking at these entertainers as role models, and these role models are engaging in sexually deviant behavior, how do we begin to have conversation about what's real and what's not, what it means to be a man? And I think that's what I take away from Diddy and R. Kelly and Bill Cosby, because that to me is what's impacting our families, how men treat women, all of that kind of stuff more than anything else.
Yep. Can I just say this? Can I drop this before we leave? What impacts men in our families the most, beyond Hollywood, beyond entertainment, beyond hip hop, is how men treat their family inside that. Yeah. So if you ain't their number one cheerleader, if you ain't their number one model, mentor, from this jump, forget TV, forget hip hop, forget entertainment. they're watching you more
Yeah.
so than they watching that. And if your stuff is raggedy, guess what? All that does is open the door for them to be able to get to the right end.
Yeah.
Well said. Home life wins every time.
All
How
day
about, how about we have a forum out there about this right here?
Maybe that's
How
something we
about
need to look at. We out of time. We got to run. Thank y'all for tuning in to another edition of The Crew. Check it out again. Bonus content, all that other stuff on our social media platforms. Until next time, be blessed to be a blessing to someone else. Peace.
Okay, I hope you loved it as much as we did. Thank you for joining us for another fire show for The Crew. Listen, you can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and any streaming platform that you're using for your podcast. Share with a friend, expand the family. Listen, we're trying to do this thing with all of you as often as we possibly can. We're looking forward to you joining us again for our next show.